Welcome to a Very Perry podcast with David Edward Perry. Welcome to the 337th episode of a Very Perry podcast, brought to you by Nabisco, not the snack company. Some guy named Nabisco. He's a rapper on SoundCloud. He's really good. Today we're going to be talking about Hello Neighbor. It's always good to know you've got good people that live by you, taking care of you, helping you out. But sometimes you get in a situation, especially if you're renting, that ain't the case. Sometimes you got folks that are deliberately trying to kill you. We're going to talk about all those things with someone who is an aficionado on both cartoons and bad landlords. Please say hello to my friend Chris Davis, who is a comedian, improvist, show host, actor, and skinny jean model. It's true.
Hello. All that skinny jean modeling work is just dried up, man. Just dried up.
You're not on top of the game anymore. The young bucks have taken over.
Nah, they want a more full-figured male frame these days. I don't have the childbearing hips like I used to.
Brought to you by Thick, the jeans that are so big they've got 5 C's.
Ask for it by name.
Speaking of bad names, without calling people out, all right, so we got
protect the innocent.
When it comes to bad tenants or bad neighbors, I've had everything from rats, fire, to I think there was a protest outside once. They actually sent a letter out to everybody to not put dirty diapers into the toilet.
Oh my gosh.
How?
Oh my God.
Where are you from where that is acceptable?
You know, what planet are you from where you did that more than once? Once is a lesson, unless you did it at somebody's house or in the gas station. But if you did it at your own place once, that should be, because you can only do that once and learn a lesson. If you're just like, 3's a charm, maybe this pair of Huggies will go down.
It had to be on a multiple occurrences because they sent letters out to everybody in the apartment complex.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Unless you're like this first-time parents who've never been told don't flush diapers or don't know how physics works.
Right. What are some of like the crazy events you've had with dealing with bad landlords or bad tenants in your crib?
Well, usually the landlords are worse than the tenants often. Usually my neighbors are pretty good. And I've come across some landlords that are pretty good. And then the other 95% of them are horrible. They're terrible. I hope they're listening and shedding a single tear. But my neighbors are usually pretty good. For a while, I couldn't get them to pick up after their dogs in the courtyard. So like we had grass in the courtyard. And then my neighbor's dogs just kept peeing and pooping so much in the yard that not only did all the grass die, but when it rained, it just turned to mud, and the mud would flood into the front of the door and just cause a big mud pit, and then would clog the drain where the water was supposed to go out. So there was no grass to stop the erosion. So basically it was just erosion all the time until I had to, I repeatedly called the landlord, and they said they were going to do something. They never did anything. And then I roped off that part of the yard so dogs wouldn't get in. And then I put in as much dirt. I know it's stupid. I shouldn't be wasting my time and money on this, but I want the courtyard to look nice, at least for me. My neighbors too, but mostly me.
And you're on the ground level, right? So you're like, it's like right outside your door.
Yeah. And you can't open your window in the summertime, or the waft of poo comes through in the summertime. It's like August, and it's like the worst, terrible. So the grass is back now because I fenced off the little area with rope, and my landlord doesn't help. And
wait, so when you say fenced off, is it like, like a rope, or is it like, going like Hogan's Heroes and they're like little watchtowers all around it?
I put stakes in the ground, and then I attach just clothesline string that you get from the, Home Depot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it just rope it off. So it's, if any dog worth his salt could jump over it, but the neighbors know it's like, oh, the dogs are supposed to stay out.
Right.
And so are the neighbors, for that matter.
Well, I mean, if you got the big puddle of dirt mixed with poop in front of your door, I mean, if the people ain't picking up after the dog, I mean, it makes sense to me just to be like, okay, if they're not going to do something about it, I am. And you're not the type of guy that's going to put an old hubcap out with antifreeze in it. That's not you. Not that I am either. But I've seen that happen sometimes where people have disagreements with a pet owner and they go that route. And not only is that just wrong.
I have no problem with the pets. It's just the pets are just doing what they're supposed to be doing. But
the people are the problem.
Yes, people are always the problem.
Today's show is brought to you by I Hate People, a guide to loneliness.
Ask for it by name.
When it comes to your landlords, what have been some of have they had any type of poop style management processes or?
They have my first apartment. When I turned 21 and I got out of my mom's place. Not because I hated them, I loved them all. I just wanted my own joint. And my very first apartment, everything was fine. I was there for a year before I went off to school in Georgia, and everything, I couldn't tell you how wonderful it was. It was wonderful. No problem at all. And so when I moved back to Birmingham, I figured, well, I'll just call up my old landlord to see what he has available. And little did I know, he turned evil while I was gone. Or he was evil the whole time and I never felt his wrath. So I rented the apartment, everything was fine. Every time I asked for something to be fixed, it just would take forever and ever. And so I would kind of have to up the ante. Whenever you unplugged something from this one outlet, the whole box would come out of the wall.
Dang.
Just come out of the wall. And I kept asking for it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. So one day I embellished and said, hey, when I unplug something, the box comes out, sparks are flying, and there's a little bit of smoke. When I got home from work, fixed. Because it wasn't my well-being he cared about. It was this building's well-being he cared about. So you got to give them some incentive. Your well-being will never be a landlord's incentive, ever.
Have you seen some of the new, there's a new development that's opened up over on Highland. It's a new tall, super high rise.
Oh yeah, and I can see it from my apartment.
Right. It's messed up is the people that had lived on that hill overlooking the city of Birmingham for the past, those houses were built over 120 years ago. And they've had this giant panoramic view. Yeah. And now their view is obscured by this giant neo-modern obelisk. Just they've got some 20-year-olds hanging out having a vegan sausage latte on their balcony, sunbathing and waving at them like, hello, old people.
I'm wondering how many people are going to start moving in.
Well, see, that's just it. I checked out to see how much they're renting for. They're going for between $1,400 to $4,000 a unit.
Yeah, they are expensive. They're very long units. I've seen the layout. They're very long, almost like a shotgun shack, but they're just straight shot all the way through. And I don't know. All these things keep popping up around town, and apparently there's enough money for people to go into them. I don't know who's renting them.
Or who's earning that type of income?
I think, as far as I can tell, they're either med students or doctors or young people whose parents are footing the bill while they're in college. Yeah. And then there's a couple of working stiffs in there.
Okay, it looks like our time is up, sir.
Oh, no, I didn't get to trash any more landlords.
But I want to say thanks to Chris Davis for coming on today and sharing some of his insights on landlords and how to be a good neighbor, which is important.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.